Napoleon Bonaparte, a man who controlled France 1799 to 1814, I can tell you he had some weaknesses. He had some what? Weaknesses. However much we glorify him, he had some weaknesses. Of course, before I continue, I emphasize our Kasoma Farouk of Uganda's idea: in whatever you do, believe that you can. Believe that you do what? You can. So we are saying Napoleon imposed the heavy punishment on the criminals. He put in place a secret police that was commanded by Fuge. This police arrested, tortured, imprisoned, and killed the opponent politicians. We are like saying today, however much Napoleon was a great man, he imposed the heavy punishments on the criminals. Where I can say he put up a secret police that was commanded by Fuge. This police arrested, tortured, imprisoned, and killed opponents of Napoleon's regime. I can tell you, however much he was a great man, but it was not good to kill opposition what? Politicians. Why killing opposition politicians? I can tell you Napoleon was a weak man in this, and he doesn't deserve a space in the books of history. Another one, he established a discriminatory education system. For example, the system ignored women education. When it came to education, this man ignored women what? Education. He emphasized the education of men and ignored women. By the way, Napoleon said that women are fit to be in the kitchen. What kind of man was this? We are criticizing Napoleon because he ignored women what? Education. Why ignoring women what? Education. I can tell you we are criticizing a man called Napoleon Bonaparte. Another one, he promoted dictatorship in France. He declared himself a ruler. Where we are saying today, the man promoted dictatorship in France, and by this time, he put a lot of power in his hands. By the way, one time Napoleon put up a law that for one to stand for the post of president is supposed to be called Napoleon Bonaparte. In other words, he was the only man to stand. What kind of man was this? I can tell you we are criticizing Napoleon Bonaparte. Another one, the code Napoleon of 1804 also had weaknesses. I can tell you today, the code Napoleon of 1804 also had what? Weaknesses. Because in the code Napoleon, however much he put up laws, but the laws were favoring Napoleon Bonaparte. I can tell you, in this case, Napoleon had a weakness. Napoleon promoted nepotism in France. He appointed mostly his friends and relatives to positions of responsibility. For example, it is said he chose Louis Bonaparte to be the leader of Holland at one time. In this kind of arrangement, we are like saying today, Napoleon Bonaparte promoted nepotism. He chose his friends and relatives in important what? Offices, and we are criticizing him. Another one, the establishment of the Legion of Honor by Napoleon Bonaparte led to the return of social classes. So the establishment of the Legion of Honor by Napoleon Bonaparte. I can say he established the Legion of Honor. Legion of Honor. These were great titles given to those who performed well. But in this, he brought back the return of the social classes. In other words, some people are so much honored in society more than others. So we criticize Napoleon Bonaparte. I can tell you, however much Napoleon was a great man, he had weaknesses. He had what? Weaknesses. But history believes, however much Napoleon had weaknesses, of course he remains a great man. I can tell you, we cannot say that because he had weaknesses, we cannot really remember him. We remember him for his greatness. He controlled Europe, and the period 1799 to 1814 was called Napoleonic era. I can tell you, Napoleon, a man who at one time said everything is possible, only the word impossible was written by fools in the books of dictionary. I can tell you, he believed that everything is what? Possible. So however much he had weaknesses, we still honor him. So that is the legacy of a man called Napoleon Bonaparte.